Welcome. Cronkite Sports Live is on the air. I'm Jack Harris. He is Spencer Hardenbergh. And Spencer, it is March. You know what that means. It's time for madness.
It's time for madness. They let me back in the anchor desk spot, so that's as mad as you're going to get. I'm going to stop rambling, just let you get onto it because we got a lot to cover today.
Fair enough. Last night, Arizona State men's basketball blew out Cal at home, romping to an easy win in their penultimate regular season game. Tomorrow afternoon is ASU's Senior Day, the Sun Devils' final home hoops contest of the season. But after Bobby Hurley's men graced the hardwood for the last time this spring, another ASU team will not just be playing its first home game of the season, but its first home game ever. It's the Sun Devils women's lacrosse team, which is off to a surprising start in its inaugural campaign this year, winners of 4 games during its season-opening 5-game road trip. ASU will take the field in Tempe for the first time tomorrow, looking to improve upon its 4-1 record against Presbyterian. Ahead of the Sun Devils home opener, I caught up with head coach Courtney Martinez-Connor, getting an inside look at how she has led the debuting program to an impressive start in this week's Sun Devil Sit-Down. Take me back to the beginning when you got hired here, because you had been out of coaching, or collegiate coaching at least, for about 5 years. So what was it about ASU that really made you want to come back into the coaching realm?
It was the people, the university, the warm weather, and the start of a brand new program, being able to do it, the way that you see fit from the very beginning, building that culture the right way and not having to change anything from a previous coach. The vision that Dr. Crow and Ray Anderson had for the university, the athletic program, all of that coupled into, one thing that I just couldn't pass up. And Ray said to me in his office from across a big kind of boardroom table, there's not going to be another opportunity like this, that. And once he said that, I've talked to a lot of athletic directors, opportunities that I've looked at over those 5 years, and I knew that that was truly the case.
What is your coaching philosophy in terms of what do you want to implement? Because I know on the one hand you were a great defender in college, but yet this team, the offense is really meshed well early, one of the higher scoring teams in the country. So is there one part of your guys' game that you really want to focus on and make that kind of like the rock you build around?
No, I think everything all together, from the draw to the D to the goalkeepers to the attack. We really talk about being one. Whether it's the goalkeeper making a save, as soon as she makes that save, you're a part of sparking our offense. As soon as, say, the other goalkeeper makes a save, that attacker immediately is a defender. So what we do as an entire 12-person unit on the field, and then everyone on the bench, we're like, we need you cheering for us. So, no matter your role on the team, it's an important one, and, that's something we talk about constantly.
Lacrosse, or women's lacrosse, is a sport that's grown a lot at the Division I level in recent years, but the last 5 teams that have had inaugural seasons, I think they've gone a combined 16 and 67, and yet here you guys are 4-1 right out of the gate. What's led to that early success, and has it kind of reset almost your expectations for what you thought you'd be able to do this year, or were you expecting to have this success early?
I think you always hope and pray and wish to have success early on, and there's a bit of luck, there's a bit of preparation, there's no necessarily rhyme or reason. In the fall, we weren't sure what we were going to get. We played a Final Four team, we played a couple top 20 teams, and we did well. We competed. We were able to come up with a win. It doesn't mean it's going to translate to the spring. The fall is the fall. It's just you're preparing. And then we had a bunch of injuries. We had some season-ending injuries after fall ball, and moved to spring. We've had some more injuries occur, and I'm always a firm believer of when you prepare, you're preparing the entire team, and you have to learn how to adapt. Every team does it. They aren't all brand new like us. They aren't, predominantly freshmen, but as you're preparing everyone, people need to learn how to step into roles as well. So sometimes it may come a little easier, sometimes it may come a little harder. Maybe we had our success early on and we're going to struggle a little bit. That's okay. It's a matter of working through that and how to continue to have the fire no matter what the outcome of the game.
Well, the women's lacrosse team, they're 4-1 right now. They have their home opener on Saturday, their first ever home game at the ASU Soccer Lacrosse Stadium at 3 o'clock. You can watch it on Pac-12+. Courtney, thank you again for joining us so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, Courtney Martinez-Connor definitely has everything down pat and is ready for a good season for ASU Women's Lax. If you want to see the rest of that sit down with Jack Harris, make sure to check out cronkitesports.com. Now moving over to women's basketball, we welcome in the best in WCSN analyst Andrew Bell. Andrew, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Spencer. I appreciate it.
Now, last night, women's basketball, a big win over U of A. It was their third time beating them. What were your takeaways from that game?
Oh, well, in that game last night, it was too much Kiara Russell, and a player who had dealt with the ankle injuries throughout the season, came into this postseason game last night, had a huge game, and she only had 7 points, but that's not where she did the damage. 7 assists, and she was really just facilitating all over the floor, getting everybody involved, and really just a team victory, which was a good sign for the Sun Devils.
She was definitely running the machine last night. Now, not to live in the past anymore. Let's move on to the present. Tonight, they play Oregon State. This is going to be a tough one for them. They've had trouble against them, lost to them just last week. What do you see coming out of this game?
Well, it hasn't just been Oregon State this season. It's been a problem really all season for this ASU women's basketball team. Against very good opponents, they've struggled a little bit, and tonight they have a chance to make a statement victory on the biggest stage in the postseason against an Oregon State team who they were leading by 10 points again. 10 points against last week, pardon me. And so with this game tonight, it's going to be a big game. Mary Gulich, who is on Oregon State, had 30 points in the second half against ASU. Last time she just absolutely went off. So going into tonight, I think they're going to look to double her, get the ball out of her hands, and I think that's going to be a key for the Sun Devils going into this one.
Yeah, definitely can't let that happen again. Now, focusing individually, who do you see needs to step up down the road if they're going to have continued success in the postseason?
Well, I think going into this postseason, it's going to sound funny considering that she had a career high in points, a career high in rebounds just a couple weeks ago, but Robbie Ryan, and I say this because Robbie Ryan is a player who could shoot the ball more. She's so unselfish. She looks to get everyone involved. And in this game and throughout the postseason, I think if she looks for a shot a little bit more, I think that's really going to help ASU's team. Obviously, Kiana Ibis, a big scorer for the Sun Devils, one of the key players on this team. But if Robbie Ryan gets involved as well, that's a two-headed monster for the Sun Devils. And so I think going through the rest of the postseason into March Madness, she's going to be a big key for them, just looking for a shot.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff. Make sure to keep up with his content on cronkitesports.com. Now on to ASU baseball. This season has been a bit of a struggle for the boys, but the one thing that has been consistent has been the play of highly touted freshman Boyd Vanderkoy. The former Arizona Player of the Year in 2017 and current Diamondbacks draftee has been dynamite for the Devils, and it only looks like things can go up from here.
Boyd Vanderkoy was a highly sought-after local product out of Skyline High School in Mesa, Arizona. In high school, Vanderkoy was rated the #1 righty in Arizona and the #31 righty in the nation according to Perfect Game. But Vanderkoy's journey to ASU was unique compared to most. After decommitting from another school, Vanderkoy reached out to Arizona State to try to get the chance to play for his dream school. ASU baseball recruiting coordinator Ben Greenspan knew that he was a local talent they could not pass up.
He has great command, he has great feel, and he's a really good athlete. And so when a guy can do that and he competes the way Boyd competes, you got something pretty special, I think. With a lot of the local guys, we're fortunate because I think they realize how special a place this is. And so I think from a young age, he grew up an ASU fan and said, I want to do that.
Vanderkoy recently made his first 2 starts in a Sun Devil uniform, and the freshman did not disappoint. So far, he's thrown 14 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 earned run while striking out 14. After growing up in the area, it was a no-brainer that ASU was the school for him, and Vanderkoy's Sun Devil debut was one that him and his family will never forget.
It was awesome. Yeah, I had a lot of friends and family coming out. I'd say probably about 50 people came and watched me, which is awesome. I'm glad that I did well and got to prove to myself that I was here. So. As
for the rest of the season, there's only one thing on the freshman's mind.
I mean, just keep winning. That's the goal, and get to Omaha.
From Phoenix Municipal Stadium, Carly Mathias, Cronkite Sports.
Well, we mentioned at the beginning of the show, ASU basketball rolled to that blowout win over Cal last night. And to break it down more, we bring in Ryan Clark, WCSN basketball insider. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. And last night for the Sun Devils, a huge win. They blow out the Golden Bears in the second half of that game. What really stood out to you about that win?
Well, what stood out, first of all, is that Cal is definitely the worst team in the Pac-12. That was evident throughout this one. You look throughout the game, really balanced scoring for Arizona State. I mean, this game, you had 5 guys in double digits, and that's crucial when you're playing a team like this. You want to blow them out. Share the sugar a little bit, and they did that in this game, and were really successful in doing so.
Yeah, well, Cal might be the worst team in the Pac-12, but the Sun Devils definitely aren't. Now, with the win, they guarantee themselves either an 8th or 9th place finish in the conference. But do you think they might actually rank a little bit higher than that when it comes to just pure talent level in the Pac-12?
Yeah, absolutely. They are the second best team in the Pac-12.
Okay.
Arizona has a pretty healthy lead in terms of talent. It's one of the most talented teams in the country, but ASU is definitely the second best team. They might be in that 8-9 spot because of a lackluster conference schedule, but they definitely have that spot locked up. And if they can advance in this Pac-12 tournament, who knows what could happen.
Let's talk about that Pac-12 tournament. Last time the Sun Devils were in Vegas, it's back in November. They won that tournament. It kind of set the stage for the season. How far do you think they can go in the Pac-12 tournament next week?
Well, the first game should be a lot easier than the second one. I mean, they've got a game potentially against Colorado in that first round. We don't know for sure yet. But if they advance after that game, they've got U of A. Third game against the Wildcats this season, and it should make for an intense rivalry matchup. But that is the toughest matchup you could possibly get in this Pac-12 tournament in terms of a second round out.
That is true, but I'm sure basketball fans, they would appreciate a third one of those knockout battles. They've been fun to watch this year. You'll be there tomorrow, senior day against Stanford, and he will also be in Sin City for the Pac-12 tournament next week. Make sure to keep up with all his content and everything else from the WCSN basketball coverage team at cronkitesports.com.
ASU men's wrestling has had themselves one heck of a season, finishing 11-3 and coming in first in the Pac-12 tournament. As for their 20th, ASU won their 20th all-time conference championship behind 6 individual champion efforts from Ali Nasser, Jason Surtsis, Josh Shield, Anthony Valencia, Zahid Valencia, and Cordell Norfleet. That's the most champs for the Devils since they had 6 back in 2003. Ryan Milhoff and Tanner Hall also joined them as NCAA qualifiers.
Breaking. ASU softball is good. No, like really good. In case you haven't noticed, the Sun Devils are off to a 13-2 start this season after completing another successful weekend at the Mary Nutter tournament last week. ASU picked up 4 wins in Palm Springs, starting with a tight victory over Mississippi State. Giselle Juarez tossed a gem in the tournament opener, helping the Sun Devils to their 10th straight victory at the time. However, in Game 2 of the tournament, that win streak was snapped by Oklahoma. 7-2, the Sooners won. Oklahoma, though, they are the defending national champions, and ASU bounced back against LIU Brooklyn. It was a big back game from the Sun Devils, who set season highs in hits and runs, and had a big game from catcher Maddie Hackbarth, who jacked her 5th home run of the season. The good times, they continued to roll when ASU took on Liberty in Game 4. Juarez again dazzled from the circle. She threw 7 shutout innings, lowered her season ERA to 1.75, and led the Sun Devils to a 3rd shutout of the season. Cal State Fullerton provided little resistance in the weekend finale, unable to keep the Sun Devils' hot bats quiet as they roll to their 4th and final win of the Classic. Moving forward, conference play is still weeks away for the Sun Devils, which will instead conclude its tournament portion of the schedule this weekend, taking on Coastal Carolina and New Mexico State at home in the Devil Classic. Our WCSN softball coverage team will be there at Barrington Stadium, so be sure to follow along by visiting cronkitesports.com. But now we vault over to gymnastics, where the Gym Devils have continued their own triumphant march to the postseason with a Territorial Cup win last week. Our Tyler Mannion reports on the surging squad as they prepare for their final stretch of the season.
On Saturday, the then number 17 Gym Devils took on rival University of Arizona in the Territorial Cup. The matchup lined up as senior night for ASU's Nichelle Christofferson, who was honored alongside her family at the end of the meet with a touching tribute. Due to injuries, Christofferson, Morgan Hart, and Caitlin Lentz were all unable to compete, but the rest of the team stepped up around them. The Gym Devil effort was led by freshman phenom Kyra Leonard-Baker and former French Olympian Anne Coombe, who took 1st and 2nd in the all-around. Coombe set the tone for ASU right from the start, as she posted a career-best 9.9 on vault with the first routine of the day. As a team, Arizona State scored a season high on the apparatus and took an early lead over the Gym Cats. The home squad took to bars next and grew their lead. Along with breaking the 49-point mark on all 4 events, the Gym Devils won each individual event title.
We do our turn 100 times. We know how to do it. We just need to be focused on trying to do exactly the same thing, and today it was a good day, so I'm happy.
Arizona tried to stay close to ASU by improving their scores from the previous week on both of the first two events, but the Gym Devils were too much.
Yeah, I think we did a couple more of those details that we keep talking about. We stuck a couple more landings today than we did last week. We hit just those small details in a couple of the routines where we've been kind of hammering on them in practice and really working them, and we actually saw some of those details today. So I think they did a phenomenal job.
The lead continued to grow on beam as Justine Callis won the event by notching a career-high 9.9. On the floor exercise, ASU put up 5 career highs, led by a 9.95 from Leonard Baker and a 9.925 from Kuhn. The team showed personality in routine and stuck landing after landing to earn a season-high 49.4 on the event. When all was said and done, the Gym Devils put up their second highest score of the season and came away with a 196.725 to 195.025 victory.
By the end, when we were looking at the ending scores, I was like, oh my god, we just beat U of A by a lot. I was really happy.
It is clear that ASU was the better team, as they dominated the meet from start to finish. The Gym Devils look to continue their success in non-conference and the Pac-12 championships. From Wells Fargo Arena, Tyler Mannion, Cronkite Sports.
ASU will take on number 25 Minnesota tomorrow, and then on March 9th, they'll take on number 12 Denver, number 10 Arkansas, and number 1 Oklahoma. Then moving on to March 16th, the Gym Devils will take on number 8 Oregon State, along with UC Davis and Sacramento State. And now to men's tennis. The boys have been tearing it up lately, winning their last 8 matches. WCSN reporter Mason Kern talked to the team about their recent hot streak.
After a championship victory at the Blue-Gray National Men's Tennis Classic this past weekend in Montgomery, Alabama, the Sun Devils are currently riding an 8-match winning streak, with their ranking from number 20 being improved to number 13 in the latest Oracle ITA National Division I Men's Tennis rankings. And while the ranking is definitely a positive note for the program, senior captain Mikhail Gertz says there's still a lot of work to be done.
Number 13 is great, but it's just a number too. I think it's really important to keep on, improving and until the last match of the season. Of course, it's a really good feeling to be number 13 at the moment, but we still need to be focused for our next matches.
Gertz clinched the victory after a hard-fought sequence with his opponent Mazen Osama from the University of Alabama. Osama would miss hit into the net, and the Sun Devils would claim victory. Because of the level of talent that head coach Matt Hill was able to recruit prior to the season, he's not surprised about the recent success, nor the high ranking of his Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at them on paper coming in as a recruit, this roster is no different than the other top teams around the country. They just had 0 match experience in college.
Despite the positive track that the Sun Devils are currently on, Gertz admitted that playing Pac-12 powerhouses such as number 2 Stanford and Cal are going to force them to play at a much higher level and take care of business right here at home.
Well, Stanford is playing really well at the moment. Their lineup is really good. They really did well also in the national indoors. We also play Cal, which is also a really good team.
But for now, the Sun Devils feel as if they're ready for any opponent. From Whiteman Tennis Center, I'm Mason Kern, Cronkite Sports.
For ASU's women's hockey team, year number 2 in program history was a season full of progress. The Sun Devils won 8 games, qualified for the postseason, and were in and out of the polls all year. After the team was knocked out of the playoffs in Fremont, Nebraska last week, our WCSN women's hockey coverage team recaps ASU's season in this week's CSL Conversation.
This ASU women's hockey team was gritty all season with 11 or 12 skaters in every game. This team showed a lot of heart.
I think this team's biggest strength this year was their small size. They only had a 13-player active roster this year, and it really allowed them to bond as a team on and off the ice.
biggest weakness is the fact that they had a small roster at the same time as the positivity of it is the fact that a lot of teams take advantage of that smaller roster and they can beat up on a team like that.
The biggest weakness for the team has been the shortage of players and battling through injuries. And some of their key forwards had to step up and play shifts on defense to help recover for that weakness.
Biggest surprise this season was how competitive this team was during games against top-ranked opponents. They stuck around and they played very hard against them.
The biggest surprise has been making the playoffs for the first time in program history. After getting 2 wins last year, they're able to get 8 this year, and that's a big step for this club going into the next couple of seasons with a large improvement roster.
I think the best series of the season had to be that Denver series because it was do or die, backs against the wall. Lose, don't get into the playoffs. Win both games, you're in, and they swept Denver.
I think the best series this season was the 2 games against GCU heading into the winter break. I think that was a great series between both teams. It really kind of put a stamp on what the series is like just because of the physicality of it and the amount of goals that were scored as well. Molly Potter, and that's because she scored 0 points this season, but she worked so hard and, she was great defensively, and going forward, I think that'll be a big pick-me-up for the team.
Catherine Jones, by far, she was kind of under the radar because the seniors took the spotlight this year, and Jones was able to set a freshman record for this program with most points.
The most underrated player for the team was Catherine Jones. She had 7 goals, which was tied for 3rd on the team, and she always crashed the net and was a presence in front of the goal, and she always had a smile at practices.
I'm gonna have to go with Danica Borges. It's her last season. She was really successful on the ice. She created a lot of penalty minutes, but she was a physicality that the team needed.
The MVP of this team is definitely Jordan Nash Bolden. She was just a monster between the pipes this season, and she faced upwards of 60 shots in some games.
Jordan Nash Bolden is absolutely my choice for MVP of this season. She faced 1,000 shots, saving 921 of them, won all league goalie. She stopped everything in her track. She was a monster this year.
ASU's men's hockey season also drew to a close last week, a season full of promise that ended with a whimper after the Sun Devils were swept by Michigan to finish the year with just 8 total wins and only 1 victory in their final 10 games. It didn't stop head coach Greg Powers from finding a silver lining, though. He pointed out correctly that his team had, quote, seen it all, from a first ever tournament win to a disastrous finish to the year and an inability to succeed on the road. 2017-18 was no doubt a mixed bag that resulted in an 8-21-5 record and the program's second campaign as a full-member Division I team. But the saying goes, good things come in threes. Well, Powers and hockey fans in Tempe will be hoping that that adage applies to their program too. They've suffered enough at Oceanside in recent years. They want to finally reach the light at the end of the tunnel. As Powers explained, his team isn't happy with its lack of wins, but he's also certain that they've shown enough to have hope for the future.
The man you just saw on camera has an adage as well. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Even though it's been a little chilly in recent weeks, some people just love the pool enough to bear it out. Now, of course, I'm referring to the ladies and gentlemen on the ASU swim and dive teams. Starting with the women, finishing 5-4 isn't too shabby, but definitely not as good as they hoped for. However, finishing 3rd in the Pac-12 championship is definitely a win. This was the highest finish for the Devils since they finished 2nd in 1994. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 1994 was a while ago. They've also got a territorial cup point, finishing ahead of Arizona, who came in 5th. As far as the men are concerned, it's a waiting game for now. Youssef Salim was named Pac-12 Diver of the Meet for his performance, winning the 1-meter dive. He also finished 3rd in the platform and 4th in the 100-meter. His scores, along with the others who placed, will be added to this week's men's swimming totals to figure out who the team champion is going to be. Now let's dry off and send on over to Rob Werner with Impact.
Thanks, guys. The calendar has officially been flipped to March, but the only madness happening right now in the Pac-12 is between the teams sitting on the bubble of making the NCAA tournament. With Arizona locked in and ASU needing only a win against Stanford to pretty much secure its bid, the drama isn't bubbling over for the Arizona schools. However, bubble teams like UCLA and USC are feeling the pressure, and a lot will be decided when the two teams collide tomorrow night. Another bubble team to look at is Utah, who's been surging recently, winning 5 of its last 6 games. Washington and Oregon are 2 teams on the cusp of the bubble, but recent bad losses will require either team to make a deep run in the Pac-12 tournament in order to reach the big dance. That's how it looks right now, but as you guys know, anything can happen in March Madness.
Thank you very much for the update, Rob. Now, as you know, Jack, we love staying relevant and woke here at Cronkite Sports, and I hear the best way to do that is through social media. So for that, we welcome in our social media guru, Nick Batters. Nick, thanks for being here today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Glad to be here right before spring break, and we've had a couple weeks off, so there were a lot of tweets to sort through, a lot of stuff on the social media to sort through. Hopefully I did you guys proud.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. I'm waiting.
Got to start off and ask, how are you guys doing? How's your day going?
Pretty good.
Good week.
Can't complain.
Say it's going fine.
Say it's going fine.
We're going fine. Another guy who was having a fine day this week, Bobby Hurley, on Monday tweeted, I'm having a fine day.
Yes.
Obviously, he got the fine, says he's a terrible coach. I think I'm a terrible social media host right now. I don't have a good question. What do you guys think of Bobby Hurley's Twitter game? I think I'm impressed.
He's got a good Twitter game. I think all of ASU basketball does. I mean, if you think when Tayshaun Cherry committed, the picture of the cherry that went up, now this. I mean, they are also knowing what's going on social media. Yeah.
I think all the coaches here at ASU seem to have. I mean, you got Skip, you got Herm Edwards. They're all killing it. They're all kings. They're all kings on social media for sure.
Really good content coming from the coaching staffs on Sun Devil social media. Now, the next thing I want to ask you guys, obviously Bobby Hurley was having a fine Monday. Did you guys know that Tuesday was National Kiss a Hockey Player Day?
Did not know that.
I sure didn't until I logged onto Twitter, and I saw this tweet from Johnny Walker. He said, National Kiss a Hockey Player Day, like I'm a piece of meat, absolutely disgusting. Given the level of single I'm at, I'll still take it, but I wouldn't mind talking about my feelings too. And guys, I think I might have found someone for him to talk about his feelings with, and also share National Kiss a Hockey Player Day with. Danica Borges, friend of the show of the ASU women's hockey team, said it's National Kiss a Hockey Player Day. Why haven't I got any kisses yet? Hashtag unwanted. So we have Jaywalks, the local product, Dirty Dan, the alternate captain for ASU women's hockey. Anything that we can get going between the two? Maybe some CSL magic?
I think it's a match made in heaven. Like, I don't know about you guys, but this seems like a perfect couple right there.
CSL Tinder edition. Yeah, we'll have to shoot Johnny Danica's number, and we'll figure something out. We'll make it happen.
Swipe right.
We'll make
swipe right.
Absolutely swipe right. Yeah.
Perfect. So it wouldn't have been a show if I didn't come on and talk about women's hockey. It also wouldn't be a social media segment with Nick Batters if I didn't talk about baseball and jump off Twitter. So we're going to head over to Carter Aldretti's Instagram. Now, check out this video that he posted on his story a couple of weeks ago. ASU baseball, they played 2 doubleheaders in 2 days against Miami of Ohio. He got hit in the head on one of those pitches, and he captioned it, what playing back-to-back doubleheaders feels like. So no more back-to-back doubleheaders for ASU baseball, but obviously spring break coming up. Maybe some doubleheaders for you guys. What are in the plans over the next week?
Well, if I do have a doubleheader, I hope it doesn't just keep going on loop like this over and over and over again, because this just looks painful. Like, oh, Carter, I'm feeling for you, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was back in my youth days. I was hitting the head by a baseball, scarred me for life. But
not surprising.
Yeah, not surprising at all. Yeah, that was the only way I got on base, basically. So yeah, Carter, I'm feeling you. But yeah, hopefully, like Jack said, it's not gonna keep repeating itself over and over. That'd be nice.
Well, Nick, great stuff as always. Thanks for coming on. Well, you know, the world of social media, though, isn't the only online world we're interested in. Esports, as it has become known, has grown into one of the most popular phenomenons around the country in recent years. ASU is no exception, and our Jack Lauderay got a first-hand look at the Sun Devils' very own esports team, a squad quickly growing in interest around campus after claiming a Territorial Cup victory this past week.
The Territorial Cup opened up a new chapter as the Sun Devils faced off against the Wildcats in the realm of esports. The match was part of the Fiesta Bowl Collegiate Overwatch National Championship, which was held this year at ASU. The ASU Overwatch team is comprised of students from the Arizona State Esports Association, a student-run organization that features teams over numerous titles that compete all throughout the year.
Has been neutralized to some extent.
ASU started out the series strong on Lijiang Tower, quickly defeating the Arizona team with a score of 2-0. Key plays from Chumcha and Amadian were the difference in the first map, and the Sun Devils took the 1-0 lead.
High progress.
The Arizona State team would then complete the sweep, defeating Arizona swiftly on the final map, Blizzard World, which is the brand new map coming to Overwatch in the next few weeks. It was a quick and dominant victory for ASU, and they did not allow a single point on either map to Arizona. The Arizona State team is now competing in the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers League, where they compete against the other teams in the Pac-12. Arizona State would end up winning the series by a final score of 2-0, sweeping the University of Arizona. It was solid team play overall. Every player contributed in the right position they needed to. There was no one player that stood out. Teamwork was the key to this victory. In Tempe, Jack Lotteray, Cronkite Sports.
I love video games, man.
That would make my head hurt looking at it. I mean, there is so much action going on there, but you know, esports, it's a big thing. Like,
it's a lot.
People forget, like, it is a very popular thing that's going on. Like Rocket League, I play that all the time. Great game.
FIFA?
Yes. I lose to you in FIFA, so.
I think I'm about, and I'm not kidding, I think I'm about 70-2 against you in FIFA.
Oh.
It's probably in that area.
Yeah, well, I think I'm about to go 1-0 in the way it is against you.
Yeah, we'll see. The way it is. Excellent little segue there. The way it is, the way it works, we got 3 questions, do a little banner. Our lovely producers pick a winner, and they get to do a little rant.
They are lovely.
They are. They really are. So here, I'll do question number 1. So it is senior weekend for ASU men's basketball. Which senior do you think the Sun Devils are going to miss the most next season?
Well, we got a few to choose from back here, but I think it's the guy in the middle at the top, Cody Justice. Now, he might not score the most points or be the most athletic, but he plays with so much passion. That is a lifelong ASU fan. They can recruit guys who are athletic and score points. It's going to be a lot tougher for them to find players like Cody who's going to put that much emotional input into the program.
See, I'm picking this guy right here, Shannon Evans.
Nice.
I think he is just the charismatic kind of heart of this team. You know, you see when they're down, he hits a big 3, gets all pumped up, gets them back up. When they're up, keeps them up. So I'm picking Shannon.
It is a very emotional team.
Yeah,
a lot of heart out there.
They're all a huge part of the team.
Well, ASU baseball opens up a 3-game series this weekend against Oklahoma State tonight, game 1. But after the Sun Devils' 4-5 start, how worried are you about this team?
I think you should be pretty worried. I mean, the defense just isn't there. I see Carly disagrees with me. The defense is not there. I mean, the offense hasn't been good enough really to make up for it yet. So unless the defense changes, I think there's going to be a problem.
I think it's the offense that's really the big issue. We knew that the pitching was going to be, was going to have their struggles. There was a lot of young guys defensively, but like this lineup was supposed to be really good, and they've just been shut down consistently far too often for them to have success. Like that's going to have to change.
Exactly. Yeah. Now we know Bobby Hurley, he can ball. His days at Duke playing with Leitner, but he was putting on a show the other day. You know, he's still got it. What's your favorite move to pull on the hardwood?
My favorite move, okay, so I don't have many of them, but when I want to get fancy, a little behind the back pass, I don't usually place it well, but when I do, it is a thing of beauty, let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh, we have memories. We have memories of that. I'm more of a post guy. All right, get it down low, do a little fake that way, come back in the middle, up. A fake, of course. They jump every time. Go under, layup. Works every time.
See, now I know I'm going to win because what you fail to remember here is the post game is dead in basketball now. Like post game's dead. It doesn't even matter. Like you just got to be able to pass and shoot, right?
Yeah. Tell that to Joel.
Well, we will see who wins here. The way it is, they will tell us, and I think it's my aesthetically pleasing passing.
See,
it's going to put us over the top here.
You're the facilitator. I'm the doer. That's what they have.
I don't know. I think a lot of people like Steve Nash. Like he was a legend in this town.
You know, wait, who's that other guy? Michael Jordan, I think his name is. Yeah, he scores. Hakeem. Call me Hakeem. All right. Now, hot starts. They've seemed to have been the story of the year for ASU athletics. It seems as if every team has gotten off to a good start to their season throughout the entire year. Unfortunately for ASU fans, this has often been followed by a drop in performance. The best example of this is ASU men's basketball. They were number 3 in the nation at one point. Now they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to get their way into the NCAA tournament. The reason I'm bringing this up is to issue a warning of sorts to the ASU women's lacrosse team. Resting on laurels hasn't gotten anyone anywhere, and while they've had a good start to their season, their first season, you never know what could happen. Many teams have seen their season crumble due to many different reasons, but if they want to stay hot, the ladies have to play like they're 1-4, not 4-1, and that's the way it is.
Best time of the week, top plays, here we go. Now, we were kind of hating on ASU baseball there, but we are going to start with ASU baseball Sunday against St. Mary's, 1-1, Gage Canning, single up the middle. It might not be flashy, but it gets it done because it is the game-winning RBI here for a huge win for the Sun Devils. They avoid the sweep in this one. Like we said, they're coming back home this weekend.
It's the little things, man. He's got ice in those veins. Now let's do something flashy. Did you check your mail?
I did not.
There was a dunk party. Cal wasn't invited. But everyone on the ASU roster was. Look at Romello White throwing it down. Daquan, doesn't matter. Defenders, he can't see him. Romello, oh, no look pass by Trey. Put it down, Mickey. Mickey misses, doesn't matter. Romello, or Lake there on the follow. God, owning the paint.
I want to be invited there next time. But let's go to top play number one. This was at Long Beach State this week. Bottom of the ninth, winning run on second. This hit could win it with 2 outs, except Trevor Hauver dives in left field and makes that catch. Look at this one again. I mean, that is just an unbelievable play. Again, we talked about the defensive struggles, but that time it got him a win.
He made me look dumb. He made me look really
just
dumb.
A little bit.
I saw a cape, I think, coming out of this office.
Superman style.
Little Superman style. The guy running around third just kept on going.
He probably
just
didn't even know.
Just assumed.
Thought we were gonna win.
That's it. Great catch. Great plays. Great show. Fun doing the show with you, buddy. Thank you guys for watching. We will be off next week for spring break, but make sure to tune back in 2 weeks. For Jack Harris and everyone here at Cronkite Sports, I'm Spencer Hardenbergh. Thank you guys.